15 Things You Didn't Know About Jim Carrey. Welcome to alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get informed. Hello Aluxers, and welcome back to our channel. We thought it would be about time for us to make a video about someone who's both a role model in terms of seriousness and professionalism, and a guy who probably has made you laugh at least once. So we chose Jim Carrey. Born January 17, 1962 in Newmarket, Ontario, Canada, James Eugene Carrey is the son of Kathleen Oram, a homemaker of French, Irish, and Scottish descent, and Percy Carey, who's a musician and accountant of French-Canadian ancestry. Interesting fact, the family's original name was Carey. Jim has 3 older siblings and was raised Roman Catholic. You could have guessed the boy was one of a kind back when he was only 10 years old, as he wrote a letter to Carol Burnett explaining how he was a master of impressions and should be considered for a role on Burnett's show. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Alux. That witty young boy grew up to be a living legend, so why don't we cut to the chase and start talking about the 15 things you didn't know about Jim Carrey. Number 1. Carrey had financial problems and even was once homeless. Carrey's father lost his job when Jim was only 12 years old, an event the actor would later describe as a traumatic kick in the guts. Because the family was unable to pay the mortgage, they had to live in a camper van for a while his parents, as well as the children, worked as security guards and janitors. Jim used to work 8-hour shifts after school, which affected both his morale and his grades, going from being a straight A student to getting bad grades and not wanting to have friends anymore. They eventually managed to get back on track, but having to work so hard at such an early age is probably something that not many of us can relate to. Number 2. He started out as a comedian who gave stand-up shows. Carrey was only 15 when he made his professional debut as a stand-up comedian in a Toronto club. Guess what? He got booed off stage, which gave him doubts about his capabilities as a professional entertainer. However, after his family managed to solve the financial problems they had, Jim found the strength and support to put together a better, more carefully polished act. He then gave it another shot, and this time the public immediately fell under his spell. By 1979, he was able to make a living as a comedian and making a name for himself, especially because of his racing energy level, frenetic improvisation, and of course, his technically brilliant mimic. Number 3. Carrey's movie breakout was 1994's Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Carrey moved to Hollywood when he was 19 years old and started getting small parts in not-so-important productions. His real breakout, though, was Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, the American comedic film directed by Tom Shadyac. In spite of receiving mixed reviews from critics, the movie was a box office success, grossing $107 million worldwide from a $12 million budget. But one could say 1994 definitely was Carrey's year, as he also got lead roles in The Mask as well as Dumb and Dumber, and the last being a commercial success that grossed over $270 million worldwide. And so it began. Number 4. He's won several Golden Globes, but not one Oscar. Why, of course we all had a Leonardo DiCaprio moment, but let's focus on Jim Carrey. He is indeed one of those brilliant actors that one simply can't figure out why they haven't won an Academy Award. With a total of 6 Golden Globe nominations up to date, including one for his performance in The Mask, Jim Carrey won 2 Best Performances by an Actor in a Motion Picture, one for the 1998 film The Truman Show, and one for 1999's Man on the Moon. As the master of self-irony, Carrey made fun of himself at the 2016 Golden Globes by pointing out that maybe winning a 3rd award of this kind would finally make him worthy enough. Number 5. Carrey is worth no less than $150 million. Jim Carrey is one of the Hollywood actors who made history in terms of how well they were paid at some point in their career. To be more specific, he earned $20 million for his 1996 film The Cable Guy, and as surprised as your luxurious self might be, that was a lot of money back then. Still is, by the way. He lives in a house situated at the foothills of the Santa Monica Mountains and owns a 7,000 square foot duplex penthouse, which is located in Manhattan, New York. This upscale apartment cost Carey $13.65 million. He also has a car collection and a private jet, just so you know. Number 6. He struggles with depression. We're sure it's not his wallet that makes Carey sad, but this doesn't make depression easier to bear, not even when you're the always happy, extraordinarily funny and talented comedian on the surface. Whether it was due to his teenage struggles or because of stress combined with ADHD, the disease got so serious that eventually he had to be medicated. He took Prozac for a long time before eventually deciding to no longer take medications or stimulants of any kind, including coffee. In 2009, he decided he had nothing to lose, so he finally opened up about the horrible battle he's fighting on and off. Number 7. Carey was married twice and has one daughter. The first woman to steal Carey's heart was former actress Melissa Warmer, and the two got married March 28, 1987. They have a daughter together, Jane Erin Carey, who was born September 6, 1987, and who became known to the public in 2012 as she became a contestant on American Idol. However, Jim and Melissa divorced in 1995. Carey then fell in love with his Dumb and Dumber co-star Lauren Holly, whom he married in 1996, but the fairy tale only lasted for a year. He also dated Jenny McCarthy from 2005 to 2010, and they remained good friends even after the relationship ended. Number 8. A huge controversy involving Carey surrounded him and his girlfriend Catriona White's death. Catriona White dated Jim Carey on and off in 2012. The two were no longer together on September 28, 2015, when she was found dead after a prescription drug overdose. 1 year later, Mark Burton, White's husband until her death, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Carey, accusing him of having used his immense wealth and celebrity status to illegally obtain and distribute prescription drugs involved in her death. 1 month later, White's mother filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Carey as well. Carey publicly denied all accusations and expressed once again his regrets for Kat's death. Eventually, on January 25, 2018, the lawsuit was dismissed. Number 9. Jim Carrey was the director's first choice to portray Captain Jack Sparrow. It seems the role of good old Captain Jack Sparrow was initially offered to Jim Carrey, not the handsome Johnny Depp. Jim Carrey turned it down because Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl production schedule would have overlapped with the filming of Bruce Almighty. And this is how we ended up with Johnny Depp to play the legendary role of the drunken pirate in history. But it's also a well-known fact that Carrey is not a big fan of franchise movies, so in the end, it all turned out to be a win-win. Number 10. He's the only one Christmas lover that had to steal Christmas on several occasions. One thing we know for sure about Jim Carrey is he's a man of simple pleasures. He's a huge fan of classic cartoons, he likes Johnny Bravo and death metal, and we know for a fact he loves Christmas. Paradoxically though, he's the mastermind behind the impersonation of two of the most famous Christmas antagonists in cinema history. The Grinch and Ebenezer Scrooge have both been played by Jim. If you're one of these people who always has Christmas alive in your heart, click in the top right corner for our video, 15 Things You Didn't Know About Santa Claus, to shoo away all this Grinchy talk. Number 11. Carrey is one of those who believe the MMR vaccine causes autism. In spite of scientific consensus, Carrey expressed his opinion on the matter in 2009 when he wrote an article for the Huffington Post in which he questioned the merits of vaccination. Along with Jenny McCarthy, his former girlfriend, he advocated for the removal of toxic substances from children's vaccines. Furthermore, in 2015, as California Governor Jerry Brown signed a new vaccination law disallowing religious and philosophical reasons for exemption from vaccination, Carrey called him, quote, a corporate fascist who's poisoning children. Carrey was strongly criticized by several important names in medicine, including David Gorski, Stephen Parker, and Arthur Kaplan, who qualified Jim as ignorant when it came to vaccines. Number 12. He started painting because he needed color. The recent documentary, I Needed Color, reveals Jim Carrey's newest hobby. It seems that his way of getting away from the darkness within is through painting. His new passion has its roots in his childhood, when Carrey used to do a lot of sketching, and the therapy he uses to heal, in his own words, a broken heart. The documentary is honest and authentic, and you can see on Carey's face the deep solitude he's currently facing, no matter how many of his works surround him. However, it didn't take long for critics to appear, pointing out the actor should probably not be showing his canvases to anyone because his, quote, crudely colored Jesus-like faces, lurid fluorescent portraits, random abstractions, and clay figures give amateurs a bad name. Kinda harsh, don't you think? Number 13. Jim Carrey is spiritual, but does not believe in organized religion. Raised a Catholic and having dabbled in Presbyterianism later in life, Jim Carrey seems now more than ever willing to exploit his spirituality. He's always been vocal about his relationship with God, but also never missed a chance to express his distrust of organized religions, calling for their end. He once tweeted that he thought organized religion was, quote, fading, and changing the Pope was a corporate maneuver. When he was asked whether he was a Buddhist, Carrey answered by saying, quote, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm whatever you want me to be. It all comes down to the same thing. Number 14. His favorite role was the one of an introverted man. Can you take a wild guess what movie we're talking about here? The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's a movie that you must watch tonight if you haven't seen it yet. In this movie, Carrey portrays Joel, a painfully shy, lovelorn character that the actor believes is closer to what he is in his private life. Yeah, we know you wouldn't expect to hear that from someone such as Carrey, but his life is full of surprises. Also, having to play this role made Jim Carrey reflect on his past relationships and why they didn't work out. This is as introspective as it gets, A-Luxers. Number 15. He's got a thing for music and writing. Apparently, this one's tasted a bit of every art, whether it's due to the actor's father being a musician or simply because he wanted to absorb everything in his life. Jim Carrey has shaped his taste in music in a very interesting way. For example, did you know that in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, it was Jim Carrey who insisted on having Cannibal Corpse appear in the mosh pit scene because they were his favorite band? And of course, he's also given writing a shot. He revealed in 2013 he had written a children's book titled How Roland Rolls, which he released in September of that same year. And that's all for today, my dear A-Luxers. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you liked what you saw. Now, we're curious to know, what do you think about the controversial allegations regarding Catriona White's death? Let us know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We keep these videos coming every single day. And of course, you know it wouldn't be an A-Lux video without a bonus fact at the end to thank you for sticking with us. He and Tupac used to be pen pals. Did you see this one coming? 'Cause yeah, Jim Carrey and Tupac Shakur used to be friends. We all know Tupac used to write pretty violent and explicit lyrics, but beyond this toughness, hid someone who was rather friendly. Tupac Shakur was convicted of many criminal offenses, including sexual assault of a woman in a hotel in November of 1993. While in prison, he received several letters from Jim Carrey, who used his talent to sweeten up Tupac's bitter life. Carrey was Shakur's favorite actor, which only made their interaction even more interesting. And apparently, Carrey felt the rape allegations against Tupac were false, which is why he offered him the support he needed to get through his time on the inside. Thank you for spending some time with us, A-Luxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. Thank you for being an A-Luxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.